Hey, welcome to Friday's Refuel. I've been looking forward to this one. This is Dallas Jenkins, and he's the director of The Chosen, and he's got a brand new movie coming out. We're going to get to that in a second. Just to set this up, all week long, we have been walking through Bible verses on what God says about your inside condition. Way too many Christians are toxic, discouraged, depressed, and stressed, and Bible believing at the same time. So what's wrong? God isn't obviously getting at the heart stuff. So we pretty much have been walking through this thing where we're going, look, guilt will destroy your heart, replace it with grace. Panic and anxiety will destroy your heart and your night's sleep. Replace it with prayer. Prayer or panic, pick a lifestyle. Third is greed will destroy your heart. Replace it by unleashing generosity. You'll be shocked at what happens to the world because of you and to you. And this one is this: actions better than apathy. Why? Because impact is a whole lot better than irrelevance. And I couldn't wait to get to this because you guys have had an impact beyond anything anybody imagined.
Right.
And so, hey, first of all, welcome to Refuel.
Yeah,
Glad you're here.
Yeah, appreciate
and,
you.
And I'm going to ask you about impact in a second, but first of all, tell everybody a little about yourself, like where you live, all that stuff.
Yeah, I live in Texas currently. That's where we film The Chosen. It's also where Texans believe Jesus lived, so that helps. But yeah, I grew up in a strong Christian home. My dad is Jerry Jenkins, the author of the Left Behind books. So I got a front row seat 25 years ago at not only what it's like to see something grow, kind of a ministry that grows, but also to see my dad at the center of it, humbled and surrendered and broken, which was a good example for me as we've seen The Chosen increase in impact and size. Really wanting to make sure that regardless of what's happening out there, even with something that you're part of or contributing to, that I love what you're saying about the heart, that I'm replacing those things that I used to care about, success and affirmation and all that, replacing them with brokenness and humility and surrender. So that's been the story of my life over these past 6-7 years, I think, is the story of surrender.
We'll shoot a hold on this thing on that. That'd be a great conversation.
Sure.
You come out with The Chosen, and the first response, all of my friends, they were like, you got to watch this. This isn't one of those cheesy things.
Yeah, I would say 80% of our audience was initially reluctant.
That's a good way to put it.
Just going
like everybody walking into church.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's going to be this. It's going to be cheesy, or people concerned it wouldn't be biblically faithful, or whatever. There was a myriad of reasons not to watch the show.
Yeah.
So it took a long time for it to start hitting, and then about 2020 is when when the tipping point came. But sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's say whatever you want. Can you give these folks an insider view of the snapshot of the global impact of The Chosen?
Yeah, I mean, as I talk to you now, the show is in every country. It's been translated in well over 50 languages. It's the most translated dubbed TV series in history. And I have seen it at huge, big premieres at, say, London or Italy, and then what means just as much to me is these moments of people watching it. And I mentioned this to you earlier. There was a gentleman in a Colombian prison on a dirt floor watching this crudely assembled television and seeing episode 1 of season 1 in his own language and looking at the iPhone showing you goosebumps on his arms. So that's the kind of impact that's been extraordinary. Is it seems to be transcending ethnic, religious, cultural age boundaries that typically might not allow a Bible project like this to reach them. But God's doing this insane work, and I feel like I just am lucky to have a front row seat to be part of it.
And it's in places missionaries and the gospel of Jesus Christ have not allowed.
Well, that too. I mean, that's the other thing. And yeah, in these Arabic countries where it's being translated in Arabic, they can't stop it really because it's on an app that is freely available. But the people who are doing the language translations, their lives are at risk for something like this. And so it's what we're finding is that what missionaries are telling us and church leaders are telling us is it's not necessarily like the first Jesus project ever that they've ever seen. It's that there's something unique about it that makes their ministries more. It's like tilling soil, right?
Yes.
It seems to be opening the eyes to people. And in fact, one of your staff members was sharing with me. He's like, I'm dyslexic, and the Bible, I struggle every time to read it. And dyslexic people not only struggle to read, but sometimes to have understanding. And he said the show has been kind of a key to turning black and white into color, basically. And so we're seeing that all over the world, and it's been really beautiful.
Yep. Well, one of the things I want to bring up is this: you're at it again. Okay, which is awesome. And my wife and I pretty much see everything. We go to a lot of movies. These days we've been going, is there anything worth seeing?
Yeah.
And now there is. Okay. And what's your next project? Because it's arriving fast.
Yeah, the best Christmas pageant ever. It's a feature film, Christmas classic, coming out from Lionsgate in November 8th. And early access screenings November 2nd. So if you're a Chosen fan, you can see it's actually a sneak peek of The Chosen, a scene from The Last Supper, actually, in these early access screenings on November 2nd. All that to say, this is a book that's been around for a long time that is a beautiful, 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 and funny and charming kind of portrayal of a church that gets taken over by this group of unruly kids. They take over the Christmas pageant. And it's just a story about how we sometimes, as churchgoers, take for granted some of these great stories that we've been hearing so often. We've kind of forgotten the beauty of them. And in this case, with the Nativity, the birth of Christ, I think sometimes our American, even suburban perspective forgets that at the heart of the gospel story is poverty and outcast, and people that we sometimes think of as the least of these actually are probably more closely represented in the story of Christmas, with Mary and Joseph and the birth of Christ. And so these unruly outsiders end up reminding the church of that, and the church gives them something that they need, and they give something the church needs. So it's a story I'm really, really proud of, and was thrilled to bring to the screen.
That's really cool. And this whole week, we've been talking about heart conditions, okay?
Yeah.
And one of the last heart conditions we're basically saying is, look, living a life of service is better than sulking, okay? Yeah. Which means impact is better than irrelevance. You got one life here, use it to make an impact. You're doing that with world-class movies. But I want to say, by the way, I've said this in church, I want to say thank you. Most of my friends are going, oh gosh, every single thing that comes out by a Christian is so cheesy. And all of a sudden The Chosen arrives and breaks the whole mold, and I'm not hearing that anymore. You're doing the same thing with a legit, real Christmas movie coming at the holiday season.
Yeah, that's the beauty. Like I refer to this movie a little bit like a Trojan horse. On the surface, it's a big Christmas movie that's coming out in theaters all over the country, and there's nothing, it doesn't feel like a little church project that we're trying to convince people to see, like almost like homework. I'm sure you've been there many times. Someone comes to you and says, can you please promote our movie? And you're like, I don't want to give my people more boring homework. Right. I've been there. And so, but this movie, the reason I call it a Trojan horse is because people are going to go see this movie and get the gospel in a way that they haven't before. It comes at you in a unique way that doesn't feel like you can't see it coming, really. And so it's not inauthentic, but it really comes at you in a way that really blew me away when I read the book. And so I'm really excited for people to see it as a film. Okay, so this is a setup question. I didn't tell you I was going to ask this. Okay, this is a setup question, and I want you to go after it 100%. Okay, Christians, we're really good at criticizing Hollywood, usually with pretty good reason. Okay, when somebody comes out with something that's outstanding and affirms the stuff we affirm, okay, we should be the first people to stampede to it, to support it, because that then generates more of it. Okay, so we have 30,000 people watching this. What would you like all of them to do, no matter what state or country they live in? It would be great if you would actually go get tickets to the best Christmas pageant ever. Not because you want to support me or not because you're trying to make some sort of statement, but genuinely because we, like you said, even when you're stuff about the heart, I love what you're saying about that. It's not enough to try to just stop something. You must replace it with something good. There's a Chinese proverb: it's better to light a candle than to curse the darkness. We're really good at cursing the darkness. So you got to be. We're lighting candles now, and so I'd be great if you could be part of lighting that candle with me. I don't want to sound cheesy, but showing up, spreading the word about it is a great way to start impacting culture with something that can replace the crap, forgive my harsh language. No, that works. The crap that's out there right now that's oftentimes anti-heroes or subverting the message of the gospel. This is something that's putting a spotlight on it, but in a way that you don't have to apologize for to your friends. I think they're really going to love it.
Yeah, and just so you know, Carol and I are all in. Bayside and all of our campuses are all in. We will send this and connect it to all of our Thrive-related churches, and they're all over the country and world. Personally, my wife and I are bringing our family and all of our kids and all of our grandkids and all of our friends and all of their friends to see it. Our church is going to do a couple. Matter of fact, if you're a pastor watching this, and a lot of you are, your church can do a theater takeover. Okay, go buy out an entire show, announce it to your church, sell all the tickets on Sunday morning, and your entire church packs an auditorium at a movie theater. We've done it a whole bunch. We're going to be doing that with this. It's actually a blast because you just be in the lobby welcoming everybody on the way in and everybody on the way out. It's kind of a cool thing. And on behalf of everybody, I just want to say thank you. I mean, I'll get criticized by a group of people around here. The stuff you do, you get criticized by the whole world. Yeah. And so on behalf of us, thanks for being willing to go after this kind of stuff. And it's going to be really cool. We're going to show them a clip of we'll actually show you a preview. What are they going to see?
Yeah, so you're about to see a scene actually from the movie that gives you a taste of kind of the heart of this. There's a mom named Grace, and she's a volunteer. She volunteered to direct the pageant, and it's gone disastrous so far because of these kids. And her daughter is trying to convince her, like, we need to get rid of these kids and do something different. And they may make you look bad. And I think you'll see in her response, and especially I think if you're a pastor or ministry leader, you'll appreciate this, because I think this should be the heart of those of us who volunteer or who lead. It's not about us. And so I think you'll appreciate that in this clip right now.
All right. Been waiting to say this a long time. Let's roll it.
The whole point of the story is that Jesus was born for the Herdmans as much as he was for us. We'd be missing the point of all of it if I turned them away.
But what if they ruin it for you?
They probably will. But it's not about me.